Welcome to the E-Show with Neil Ravin. With over 1,000 NCAA commitments, the EHL is the proven path to college. Turn it up and learn more about the college placement leader at the Division II and III levels.
Welcome to the E-Show, presented by the Penalty Box Foundation. The Foundation's mission centers around their daily motto: we take care of our own, as they help out all of those within the hockey community who've experienced a catastrophic event. Learn more at penaltyboxfoundation.org. What's up? My name is Neil Raffin, and this is episode number 45 of the E-Show. On this week's episode, I kick things off with George Lewis, the former head coach and general manager of the Philadelphia Little Flyers. We break down a busy week around the EHL and the EHLP, including an update on the latest state-by-state restrictions and guidelines. And of course, we wrap things up, as always, with the E-Crew Fantasy Challenge. Let's get things started with my conversation with George Lewis. I'm joined now by George Lewis, the assistant coach of the Amarillo Bulls and the former head coach and GM of the Philadelphia Little Flyers. How's it going, George?
Hey, Neil. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you coming on. I know we talked about this for a while. I interviewed you in one of those kind of 5-minute segments that I did when you were in the league. Once I launched this podcast last year, I know you and Rocky kept talking to me about it. And now I guess you could say you have bragging rights over Rocky because you came on first.
Well, thanks for having me. And Rocky said on the bus today that he was going to have words with you that I'm on before him.
I didn't know if I should do you guys together or if I should do it separate. So I figure I want to each give you the stage, and at some point this season I'll have Rocky on too. I probably won't go back-to-back weeks, but at some point I'll have him on.
Well, you might have to convince him, but I'm sure he'll be happy to do it.
And obviously I posted the picture, teasing this interview that we're going to, put out on the podcast tomorrow. And I had a number of guys that you coached against, in the NA, of course, and in the EHL as well, that texted and said, pretty cool to see George coming on the podcast. And of course, the first question I get told to ask you comes from a coach that you coached against in the NA, and Cody Campbell wanted me to ask you what it was like to coach against Cody Campbell down in Texas.
You know what? We always had good games with them. I really liked Cody. Obviously, he was in the league before me, and he knew I had some ties in the EHL, and that's where he ended up moving. So he was always good to me and kind of made me feel included when I got here. I think we had the better of them that year, though, so I was happy about that.
And, of course, you were with the Little Flyers the 2016-17 season as an assistant coach, and then Rocky was the head coach at the time. He headed south for Amarillo the next year, and that's when you became the head coach and the GM of the EHL team. So 2 years with the program, 2 years in the league, and I think it goes without saying that our league does a good job of developing players, but also coaches. How did your time in the EHL really benefit you?
Yeah, I really liked my time there. Obviously, I had a good year with Rock. We had a really good team. He was a great guy to learn from. He knew some of the guys who I worked with prior to that, so it was a good connection. But just being around guys like Roger and Jerry, and who we saw a lot, and Chris and Rich and some of those guys in the north who we played against a lot too. It was good for me to get in with some of those circles, and Lounsbury, who's at Holy Cross now, and get to know those guys and see how they all operate. So it was a good learning experience, just being around so many guys that have moved so many guys on to the NCAA level and have been there themselves. So it was a good experience for me to get my foot into junior hockey.
And what was unique for me is I think we talked about this when you were in the league. When you came in, it was the first time that there was a coach younger than me. And obviously you were the youngest coach in the EHL as the head coach. Was it intimidating at all?
I think having the year with Rock and being part of his staff and getting to know everybody made the transition pretty smooth for me. And like I said, all those guys who were a little bit older were all really good to me. So it wasn't too hard, no.
And Rocky, I mentioned when you became the head coach in the GM of the Little Flyers, it was his first year down in Texas, the 2017-18 season. And You go down there the next year, 2018-19. At what point during that 2017-18 season, while you're the head coach of the Little Flyers, did Rocky reach out to you and say, hey, this may be a chance for you to come down here next year?
Well, the opportunity had presented itself before the season I took over in Philly. It's funny, Rock had already mentioned me being the head coach in Philly, and I wanted to take on that experience. And then, sure enough, the assistant job opened up. But we decided it'd be best to keep me in Philly as the head coach. And the following year, his assistant ended up moving on to the USHL, so he called again, and we worked it out that I came down that year.
And I'm trying to find the comparison for players, but it almost sounds like you needed that year of head coach experience where you were the guy before you headed south to Texas. Is that a fair statement?
I think it was really valuable. It was good for me personally to prove for myself that I could do it. And that I wasn't, just a little bit fluky. We had a good season when I was in Philly both years. So yep. I was happy I had that experience for sure.
And you touched on this a little bit earlier, but I want to ask you to dive into it a little bit more. Obviously, one of your biggest mentors has to be Rocky. You spent the most time of anyone with him coaching, whether it was up here or down there. But you also mentioned a few other names. Can you talk about some of the coaches that you coached against that were pretty influential on you when you were in the EHL?
Yeah, I think, I thought Jerry did a really good job with the team that beat us in the finals that first year. He did a great job of coaching his team defensively and using their strengths to find a way to beat us. And we always had super competitive games with the Revolution and Coach Roger there. And like I said, some of those guys in the North too, we didn't see them as much, but they were all always super open with me and would pick up the phone and give me a call or take my calls. So, Rich and Chris and John, those guys were all helpful for me too.
And of course, doesn't matter what league you're in, you want to win and you want to beat your opponent. And I'm sure since leaving the Little Flyers, that's an organization that you continue to watch and root for. I know that you and I text from time to time when you're watching a game on Hockey TV. Was there another organization while you were in the EHL that you looked on fondly, and if they were to continue having success, you would be like, it's not the Little Flyers, but I'm happy for those guys as well?
Right now, I'd love to see Walpole have some success because, like I said, Cody was a good friend of mine when he was in this league, and I'm glad that he stepped in and won Coach of the Year last year, and he's doing a really good job there. So I'm kind of rooting for him.
So the Bulls are fans of the Express, is what we'll say. That shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, though.
No, I mean, if they were playing Catron's team and the Little Flyers, I'd pick the Little Flyers. But I'm happy Cody's doing well.
And going back to the Little Flyers, what is, I think, unique about that organization is it's a staff there. You don't have just Mark Catron, but you also have Anthony LaRusso. You have one of the most respected or well-respected broadcasters in the league in Tom Wilms. Can you touch on all the individuals that you had around yourself there in Aston, Pennsylvania, that made it that much easier for you?
Yeah, those guys were great. Like, Mark's one of the best coaches I've ever worked with. He's so smart and he understands different situations, and he was eager to help me along as a younger guy and was really, really beneficial in my development in Philly. Like you said, Alo's awesome. He can do it all. He helps with everything you need, and he does social media, his scoreboard. He's the president over there now. Like he's a jack of all trades. He's the best guy in the business. And Tom was awesome, and obviously Mike Narrigan, who was my assistant, he did a really great job for us that year too.
Yeah, and there's so many stories that you and I go back and talk about when we catch up, but there's one that I knew when I had you on the podcast that I wanted to see if you remembered. Your year as a head coach, you had a playoff game, and
I'm worried.
and there was a broadcaster that filled in for Tom Wilms that night. I'm not sure if you remember his name, but he sang the national anthem from up on the podium wherever you guys, your press box area. Do you remember that night?
Oh, that was electric. It's so funny. He had told us before the game, he told a few of the players, that he wanted to sing the anthem. They kind of thought he was kidding. So whatever happened, Hockey TV had muted him for the playing of the anthem, and we just had it on just the instrumental version. And next thing you know, we were all standing on the bench, and he was belting it so loud that we could hear him over the music from the balcony on our bench. And it was something else. And it was a different story, and it was kind of funny. But it got our guys fired up, and we had some success in those first 2 rounds. So give the guy kudos. He had some stones to do that.
and I don't want to harp on it too much, but obviously a couple very close calls when you were with the Little Flyers. The first year, of course, the 5-game series with the Junior Flyers, going to Game 5, 3 of those games being decided in overtime, 1 in double overtime. You make the first ever Frozen Finals the next year. Now we transition down to Amarillo. You guys make the Robertson Cup. How have those close calls to winning a title helped you and helped Rocky and helped you guys continue to work towards the ultimate goal of where you want to get to?
I think the experience is good. And obviously the 3 situations you mentioned were frustrating. But we know what it takes to get there. We know the group of players we want. We know how hard it is. We obviously know you need a little bit of luck. And it's just a good learning experience for us. So we'll keep pushing, and we'll take a little bit from each of those years and try to make this year's team we have the best one yet. But mostly just the experience of getting there 3 times has been really unique for us.
And I know whenever I look at scores, I'm always pulling to see you guys win, of course, whenever I see you guys on the scoreboard. And one thing that I'll always remember about your time in the league is at the end of those Frozen Finals, I believe you texted me very shortly after about the possibility of going to Amarillo. And I don't know why I didn't read it fully, but I thought it was for the next season, not the 2018-19 season. But no, you were like, no, this is for this year coming up. What was it about that moment in between the 2017-18 and the 2018-19 seasons that told you this is the right time to make this jump?
Well, Rock and I had spent a lot of time talking about it, and the group that he and his staff had coming in was really strong. And I knew that, and I knew a lot of the names, and it was exciting. And I had spent some time talking to some other guys who have helped me throughout my career. And, their thought was, try something new. We obviously were fortunate enough to have a successful season when I was the head coach in Philly. And I felt like I could move on. I'm young enough and wasn't tied down with anything. So I wanted to give it a try and move on to something new instead of potentially spinning my tires if we didn't have a better year in Philly.
And you moved to Texas. Let's start talking about your time in the NA. How long did it take for you to get adjusted to what I can imagine is a very different lifestyle?
It is different, but it didn't take long. The people here are unbelievable, and they're really supportive of our staff and our team and everything Amarillo hockey. So it's a great place to live, and the community down here is great. So, I was fortunate enough to have Rock and a couple other friends that he had introduced me to throughout the year he was in Texas. So it didn't take me too long.
And what's kind of funny, we've touched on this already. It's kind of like you and Cody Campbell in a way switch spots. So I've started to learn a lot more about, the NA South with Cody coming up here. Can you just touch on, I know that there's only 6 teams in the division this year. In a full normal year, there's 8, but your travel down south, from what Cody has told me, is as unique as anything across junior hockey.
It really is. And this year, with the 2 teams that went dormant for the season, it actually made our travel easier because they were our 2 longest road trips. But Our shortest trips, 3.5, 4 hours. Our longest trips, 10 to 12 hours, depending on what time of the day you leave. So we play in Kansas, where it can be cold sometimes. We play in Corpus Christi, where there's palm trees and 80 degrees, and we stay on the water. We play in Shreveport, Louisiana. We play all the way as west as Albuquerque, New Mexico. So it's we're not covering many states, but Texas is just so big that we play in all these different places, and it's kind of cool.
And from what Cody tells me, obviously, depending on the length of the trip, the way that you guys have to structure these trips is unique in that sometimes, say you're playing tomorrow or 2 days from now, you have to leave a day or two early just because you lose a full day from travel.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times we'll leave in the evening. When we go to Shreveport here in a couple of weeks, we'll probably leave on Wednesday night and take the night to get there. We're fortunate. We have a sleeper bus, so everybody has their own bunk and a bed to lay in. We'll get in Thursday morning, and we'll get the guys settled in. We'll have some food. We'll practice. We'll just have a normal Thursday, and then Friday we'll pregame skate and play Friday night and play Saturday night. So we'll spend an extended period of time on the road for just those 2 games.
If everybody has a bunk, how big are these buses?
They're huge. We carry 24 guys on our team, plus Rocky, myself, our athletic trainer, our equipment manager, radio broadcaster, and then the bus driver. So we've got 30 people on the trip, and everyone's pretty comfortable.
And I'm not going to have you rank them, top to bottom, but let's hear which trip you love and look forward to the most, and maybe which trip you don't.
I think my favorite trip's Corpus Christi. The weather there is unbelievable, and they play in a pretty cool arena. It's big, probably 8,000 seats, and it's pretty modern, and it's fun. It's fun to play there. And I guess my least favorite trip, I don't know if I want to call it my least favorite or maybe the most difficult, would be Shreveport. It's really fun to play there because they pack their arena, and it's loud, and it's entertaining for their fans. But once they get on a roll, it's really, really hard to slow them down. And they're a tough team to play against when they're at home.
And what I've learned is each team, for the most part, has a different item of some sort that they throw on the ice when they score a goal. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So every team does it. We do what we call Bulls balls, and they're red foam balls that all the fans throw onto the ice after every goal. And the youth hockey kids will come out and pick them all up, and our goal song will play, and it'll be pretty fun for us and pretty annoying for our opponents. And then, for example, when we go to Shreveport, they throw plastic crawfish on the ice, and you got to be careful on the bench not to get dinged by them. But it's just a tradition everybody has down here. It's fun, and you get used to it. Slows it down a little bit, but everyone's used to it, so it's fun.
So it's every goal.
Every goal, yep.
And have you been hit before?
I have, and I've learned quickly to put my head up against the glass and shrug down just a little bit.
And obviously it sounds like you guys are like a well-oiled machine of some sorts that, the kids know exactly when to come on. And while there's a break in the action, they get the job done quickly, and it's cleaned up. You're back into action again.
Yeah. Usually it only takes a minute or two. The people who do our game day operations are good, and they're paying attention, and pretty much as soon as the puck goes in the net, the balls start flying onto the ice, and next thing you know, the kids are out there picking them up. So it doesn't slow us down too much.
I love it. And that side of things, and when you compare it back to the EHL, where the travel is nothing like that. I know probably your longest trip when you were in Philly was, I want to say, about 6 hours or so. We don't have the fans the same way you guys do. Did that take some getting adjusted to, or not really?
Well, as far as the fans go, you're asking?
The fans, the atmosphere, the travel, just how different the game to game, the day to day is down there.
Yeah, it's different. The market's so much different, right? Amarillo is a smaller town than Philly, and we're a little bit more of a to do there. Where Philly, you have the Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, Phillies, this and that. We're one of the big tickets in Amarillo, so it's fun having that atmosphere. Fortunately for me, I was lucky enough to spend some time with Penn State, so I've been around the arenas and the fans and this and that. So it can get overwhelming. I had a little bit of experience, thankfully, but it's fun. And like I said, the people in Amarillo are awesome, so it's fun to play for them.
And on the coaching side of things, obviously you're not the head guy, so you go from being the assistant to the head to back to being the assistant. The overall speed of the game, the challenge of the opponents, the level of play. How long did it take for you to get adjusted at that level?
Um, Not too long. It's different. Like you and I were talking about earlier today. We play our opponents more than we did in the EHL. And the caliber of coaching is really strong, like the EHL. So, when you see a Shreveport 12 times in a season, everyone knows each other inside and out. So you really gotta prepare and spend the extra time just to try to find that little edge every weekend.
Is that through video breakdown or what is it? Because you play a team like that 12 times during the year.
Yeah, we watch a ton of video. We watch video of them playing their opponent from the previous weekend. We go back, watch them when they played us last, and just try to gather as much information that's appropriate for our players as we can.
And I'm sure the video falls probably predominantly on you. How many hours do you estimate you spend on video per week?
Geez, between video and analytics, a lot. I'm not sure if I could quantify it, but it's a fair amount. And I've been fortunate enough that Rocky's tasked me with that, and it's great for my development. So I really like doing it. But it's quite a bit of hours. I'm not sure how many, but
Yeah.
a fair amount. But I enjoy doing it, so it's no problem.
And we touched on Mark Catron, Tom Wilms, Anthony LaRusso, anyone at Iceworks that helped you out. But of course, the key figure in all this that we already touched on in this podcast, I'm going to have him on at some point as well. But Rocky Russo has been probably your biggest mentor throughout your coaching career. I know it's a broad question, but what are the biggest things that you've taken away from working under him?
I think he's a pretty genuine person. Like he cares about our guys. I mean, obviously, Rock, he's a competitor and he wants to win more than anybody I know, but he feels like if we do a good job of preparing our guys for the next level and making them better people, then a lot of the rest of the stuff is going to start to take care of itself. So that's one thing I think he does a great job of.
He was one of the most fiery guys, of course, when he was in our league. Do you ever find you need to step in and calm him down, or does that never happen?
No, not so much. It's happened, but we've got a pretty good understanding of how each other work, and this being our fourth year together, we have a pretty good feeling for when the other one might need to hop in and help out a little bit.
And you spend so much time together, with the 60 games that you play, the video, the long trips. How do you find a way, not even just with Rocky, but the long season? It goes to the EHL as well. How do you find a way as a coach to not get burnt out throughout the year?
I think it's fun. We get to coach hockey for a living, and we got to go to the rink every day. So there's times where you're tired and you're doing the same thing with the video, but it's pretty easy to remind myself that I'm at the ice rink every day and I get to do what I love. So it's fun to try to get better and to help our guys and to watch them move on and do things, that we're teaching them. So for me, it never really gets very tedious.
And you mentioned the players. It always goes back to them, because doesn't matter what level you're at. You're there to help develop the players. And for this last question, I know when I asked Mark Catron this question over the summer, you and Rocky were probably in favor of some of the guys that he mentioned, probably not other guys. But you spent 2 years there, as we mentioned, the 2016-17 and the 17-18 season. Let's hear your Little Flyers combined lineup from those 2 years with 3 forwards, 2D, and a goalie. And then we can compare your lineup to the lineup he gave me from all the time he has spent there as an assistant and a head coach.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with Ochterback on the left wing. He's one of the best goal scorers I've ever coached, and he's one of my favorite kids I've ever coached. He's a wonderful kid, and he was a great leader for us, and obviously he broke that goal scoring record before Christmas in his second year there, so that was pretty impressive. I'm just gonna jump to D because I'm still actually, you know what? I'll give you a right winger, Alex Peterson. He played 1 year there with Rocky and I, and then he played for Rocky and I in Amarillo, and he'll be a sophomore at Holy Cross this year.
Yep.
He was a stud there and a stud in Amarillo, and can't really leave him off. I would say as far as defensemen, left D, I had Miguel Diaz, who was the D of the year, but I'm going to pick Moroz. Moroz was a 3-year guy there, and I think he is the all-time leading defensive scorer.
Yep.
And I know for a single season he definitely is.
Yes.
The year when I left, he destroyed it that year.
Yep.
Chris Best for the right defenseman for sure. Chris, he was a complete warrior for us. I think he played there with Rocky for 3 years before I got there.
Yep.
He probably played 40 minutes a night in our playoff run with Rocky and I, and he was a super kid too. He was our captain that year, so hard for me not to pick Chris. Goalies, I'd probably pick Caney. Caney won goalie of the year my first year there. He was an exceptional goalie and did a great job. I thought about picking Henson.
Yep.
But Caney's playing NCAA and Henson's not playing anymore, so Caney. And then center, I guess I would have to go with Savell. Joey had, I think, 96 points in 49 games the year I was the head coach, and
Yep.
he was a big piece, him and Alex, for our team's success, and we couldn't have done it without those guys. And Joey was really skilled, and he was a good leader for us too. And I think if him and Alex were on the ice, I had a good feeling we were going to find a way to put a puck in the net.
And when you compare your lineup to Catron's lineup, you cross out, you both said Peterson, you both said Ochterbeck, you both said Moroz. So if we're comparing Austin Kelly, Nick Miguel Diaz, and Brendan Brawley for Catron to Joey Savell, Chris Best, and Sam Caney for you, it's a pretty darn good comparison. There's been so many good Little Flyers players over the years, whether it was Rocky as the head coach, you as the head coach, Mark as the head coach. It's an organization that just has so much history. It's won so many games and produced so many high-end players. Some of it's, like you said, Alex Peterson have moved on to follow you guys down to Texas. So I really appreciate you coming on. You know that whenever I see the Bulls on the schedule, I'm pulling for you guys, and I appreciate all the support that you continue to have for the EHL and the Little Flyers.
Yeah, I'm always happy to help. You guys do an awesome job, and every year all the names you guys push on the NCAA is unbelievable. So I'm a big proponent of your guys' league.
And tell Rocky it'll be his turn soon.
Fair enough. I'll let him know.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, Neil. We'll see you.
See ya. Thanks again to George Lewis for coming on the podcast this week. A great example of how the E-Show helps promote also coaches to the next level, not just players. George is one of a number of coaches that's climbed the ladder onto a higher level. You can name him Ryan Blair, another one, Rocky Russo, the head coach with George down in Amarillo. There's so many coaches that have helped, they've gotten development during their time in the EHL and the EHLP as well, and then moved on to a higher level. So it's a league that's not just developing players, but also coaches. But with that, let's bring in the E crew. As I say every week, guys, we get busier and busier. And now, even with the latest state restrictions, the game counts are really high.
Game counts are very high, Neil. And as we talked about a little bit in our preamble here before we got on the show, these teams are going to hate each other. Everybody at home that loves hockey, hate is good for hockey. As long as everybody stays safe, hate is good for hockey. These teams are going to hate each other because they're only allowed to play each other for the next 2 months, right? Ish.
Yeah.
So
well, TBD, right, Jeff? And that's Jefferson
TBD,
Mills, a broadcaster in our league. And Jeff, we have to bring it up. You got more games you're calling right now.
Yep.
And since we've started this fantasy, there is no better feeling than calling a game and your fantasy player does something in that game.
Oh, and I know we're going to get to it, so we'll just tease it, but I was very happy with my Italian friend, Mr. Lorenzo Marcolin. I feel like I might have said his name like that when I called his goal call. Renzo, you are a hell of a player. This is the first time I saw you in person. Beautiful goals today. 2 goals and an assist. And then we thought one was getting taken.
2 goals even. 2 goals even.
All the assists got taken away. That's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow. Walpole was looking good today.
But Brittany Hart, the Rinkside reporter for the league and the queen of pronunciations, it is Marcolin, right?
Oh, it is 100%. I will get beat if I am saying it incorrectly. So yes, it's correct.
Because the first game I was like Mark Collin. I saw I mean,
the only reason I knew how to say it, Neil, was because of Brittany's October month in review.
Right.
Got it.
I listened to it and I was
Peep my monthly recaps, ladies and gents.
But
So
it's still not the best name that any of us call, as I've told Kyle, the E-Show beat writer and broadcaster for the Pro Tech Junior Ducks. The best name to call.
Saved by Fanadat.
Neil, there were some better. Neil, there were some good ones last year on Whizbags.
Which ones that I love last year calling?
Oh, we got Papa points.
Yes,
Stina.
Yeah, I pronounced that one pretty hard. There's been there's a lot of names in this league. Like,
how about Xander Mavrogiannis? I remember talking.
Yes, remember that one? Like,
that was a good one. They were like,
oh my god, he played at Archie's.
Yes.
Speaking of high school hockey back in the day.
And like, awesome people. I don't get to do what Tom Wills does and scream when Robbie Seawagon scores, but that truly of like, if we had to ever do like a top 100 names in the EHL history,
that's top 3.
Robbie Seawagon is in like the top 3. Without a doubt.
Imagine being Tom Wilms and be able, like, Tom Wilms icon as it is. Icon, Tom Wilms and Robbie Seawagon, iconic.
Yes.
Incredible.
Hell of a duo.
But with that, we're all here. The schedule's picking up, and I mentioned that the game count is picking up. And I notice it in that we have days coming up here where we have 4 or 5 games in the EHL and in the EHLP. I'm pretty sure in the EHL, I forget which day it is. I look at the schedule so many times, my head kind of spins. But there's a 6-game day coming up at some point.
Wow.
6-game day. Oh, Neil, I think we forgot to introduce Kyle. Kyle, you're still there, right?
I introduced Kyle.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
he's
he
the
said
beat
writer.
Oh,
yeah.
And the Pro Tech Junior Ducks broadcast.
Well, I rewarded away by Fanadat.
All right, Kyle, just checking out. Sticking out for you, my man. Love you.
With that, Jeff.
Love you, bye.
Let's start making our way around the E-Show.
It's time for this week's segment of Around the E-Show.
Around the E-Show is brought to you by the Junior Hockey Podcast, your home for junior hockey news, knowledge, and nonsense. Check them out at tjhpodcast.com.
And how dare you, Jeff, on a broadcast, of the Walpole Express, who have won 8 straight games, how dare you forget to mention that the Rangers have won 10 straight, even though the Rangers aren't even involved in the game?
Rich is gonna sever your head from your body.
That's fine. I mean,
where's that fire emoji? That was a hot. Neil's coming in real hot this week, baby.
The best part about it is I said to Cody on Monday and Rich on Monday, just do me a favor. Win Tuesday, Rich. Win Wednesday, Cody. because I made your game Friday the game of the week, and you've won 18 straight games combined. It makes it better. Now,
I'm a little upset. I'm calling the game Saturday and not Friday. Are you calling the game?
Wait,
Friday?
you're gonna be there Saturday?
I will be there.
I'm scorekeeping Saturday. Get up.
Ooh, I'll see you there, Britsky.
Yes, big. Get up, big.
First time we're gonna see each other in person, and since who the hell knows?
Thanks, but
that's a fact.
The big reason why I wanted them each to take care of business like they did is I don't remember the day last year, but I want to say it was mid-January, and they faced each other in a game that I called
at Stoneham.
And
yes,
and Rich and the Rangers had won 15 straight games, and
Cody broke the streak.
Yes,
and was this the? I'll do the motion so we don't tease it for everyone.
Yes, and they won in overtime though, so the point streak continued, but the winning streak was over, and we all somehow walked out together, myself, Rich, and Cody, and Rich was kind of like, on the way out, like streak is over. Like, I wanted to get a few more. I mean, I don't know if any of you know this. What the record is for most consecutive wins, right?
Something of a PLF like Mad
the year that the Little Flyers only had 3 regulation losses.
It was before that, 2016-17. Little Flyers 30.
30 games.
Well, this is a good day for that story. Let's pause that, come back to that, but for the Little Flyers. But Revolution have won 17 straight, 2017-18. Avalanche 16 straight, 2018-19. Probably why Boston Junior Rangers at 15 straight in 2019-20. Why Rich wanted to get one more. But it was so funny because he walks out. He's a little discouraged because obviously the streak is over, and he said something like, "Ah, man, like it's tough to see that stretch end." And Cody,
I remember this. This is so funny.
Goes, what stretch? And Rich goes, well, we want a winning streak. And Cody goes, 4 or 5? And Rich is like, we won 15 games in a row. Where you been?
Like Cody, well knowing exactly what was happening. Cody was just being a clown.
Let's say, was that because it was Cody's? So that was his rookie year as head coach.
Yeah. And he goes, 15 straight. That's a hell of a run. I go I put my shirt over my face and I'm like, oh my God. Well, I get in the car. I haven't even turned out of the parking lot yet. And Cody calls me and he is in tears laughing.
They have 2 of the most different personalities.
It's such a Cody move.
Yeah.
It's such a Cody move.
He has that excellent dry humor. He just has that face. He's just like
Codester, absolutely.
Where he looks serious if he's saying something. He's like,
dude, Cody said things to me and I'm like, I don't know if you're kidding.
It was, and hey, Brittany, I know you were there. Who scored the game-winning goal in that game?
Ryland Dukes.
No, it was last year, bro. He was
on
Valley
last year? Oh, he's on.
No, he was on Valley. Jesus Christ.
Number...
Oh my God! Wait, was it Noah Kima, my best friend?
No.
Oh, I have no idea then.
Screaming.
We're overmodulating.
So I don't know. Wait.
Lopez.
Oh, Tim George. Yeah.
Yes, Tim George Lopez. Kyle would love that name. He'd be
George Lopez. Yeah,
his first pick.
Yes.
So now that we bring up winning streaks, while I have the Little Flyers on today, it's a perfect time to talk about this. The 2016-17 year was the year of the 30-game winning streak. But what is hard to forget for me is that they were around, I want to say, 11 or 12 straight wins. And ALO calls me, and they're losing to the Rockets, New Jersey Rockets at the time. And he calls me and goes, yeah, the game's over. I go, game just started. Would you guys concede the last 2? What's going on? The power went out. I go, what? He goes, the power went out. And
where at Prudential Center? Or...
at Ashton Iceworks. I go, what do you mean? He shows me a car outside that hit the telephone pole and the power went out in the building. So I'm like, if there's no power, you really can't play hot. We don't have any glow in the dark pucks in the EHL.
So what is this? The Garden from the 90s? Power's out.
So I'm like, okay, we will pick it up what we can. So we move the game to later in the year, when the Rockets were going back to Aston again, and they finished like the last 2 minutes of the second period and then the third period, and the Little Flyers lost the game. That game. But at the time, the streak was already over. So the Rockets argued that the loss should have counted in the middle of the streak.
Oh, shut up.
But I was like,
That's a ticky tack.
When you go to baseball and a game gets postponed, does the result end up on the new day, or does it end up on the day when it started? It always ends up on the new day.
Well, baseball's
day,
weird. So
yeah, but
baseball is honestly baseball is always weird. They would.
Yes.
So in hockey, no.
But
in football,
Kyle,
no.
It brings up another good point because
I love baseball, but the MLB, it's anything baseball. They're weird.
This brings up a good point because in that game, the Little Flyers changed their goalie, right? So in baseball, the starting pitcher, when he leaves the game, if they're losing, and the other and your team never comes back to at least tie the game, that starting pitcher still loses the game. Do you follow what I'm saying? Say the score of a baseball game is 5-0, and even though the new pitcher gets up to 6 run, and the final score is 8 to whatever, because they never came back and tied that game, it's still on the hook for the starting pitcher.
Right. If he played 5 innings and he left and his team was down,
so
you're on the record.
This happened in this game with the goalies. The goalie that came in gave up the game-winning goal, but the game never was tied at any point. So which goalie gets the loss?
My blonde brain is in a different universe.
First one.
The first one. And like it was a wild sequence. I'm like, we're talking a lot about one game, guys. And it's like, well, it's because they won 30 straight games, and that goalie should get the loss. No, he should get the loss.
No.
Okay. No. Can we just chill out for a second? Can we just chill out?
Oh, I'm so glad I never had to ask any blonde brain. That's all I have to say.
Do you notice how Brittany's eyes just like glazed over in the middle of that? She was like, okay. The Rangers have won 10 straight. We're going to go with that. So
right. And that's where we're going to go. It's like roll around goes a yeet.
And obviously, it's a huge home-and-home series for us, the four of us. You know each of those two coaches and saying this is just 2 games in the middle of November.
I don't know what Richie Rich would say. Actually, I won't disclose me and Richie Rich's texts from today because they're fire. They were so funny. But all I have to say is get up, Bick, and get up, Rodman.
He's excited. I'll tell you that.
Dude, Richie Rich is fired up.
Yep. And rightfully so, the way it last year ended. And actually, good anecdote for this, Neil. Talked to Cody today, walked in his office, as we usually do before the game. And it was the first time I've seen Cody this season. And I'm like, Cody, good to see you. Jefferson, good to see you. And I'm like, you guys look great. You're on a heck of a winning streak. Maybe we'll extend it to 8 today. Maybe not. I don't like.
Oh my God, he's definitely like, don't say that.
Oh. And Jeff has paused.
Okay, I was like, am I paused or is like everyone else paused?
No.
He's back. He's back.
It was Jeff that paused. It was funny. It's like he froze when he was about to say what he was going to say.
Right. Okay. So what did Coaster say?
So Cody said he goes. I don't know the exact. He said something about like streak. No, just worried about today. No, those like you said before. It's very dry. Just like he's like, I don't care about that. I'm on to like today's opponent. Worcester. He's very Bill Belichickian. He's very like in the moment. He doesn't care about streaks at all. He's like.
It's also like funny because when Cody's like in the middle of a game, he's like, "Oh, we stink," and then he'll like go in the locker room, and from Cody's office, you can hear every word that's spoken in the locker room, and he's like screaming. He's like, "Let's beep go!" and he's like fired up, and then like 10 minutes before, he's like, "We suck." I'm like, oh, it's so.
He's always so mild,
dude?
man.
You can hear
you're right,
every word in that office in the locker room. It's kind of scary, honestly.
Yep.
Noise travels well in Rodman. It definitely does.
Sure does.
But that's a home and home series that starts Friday in Walpole 2:30, Saturday at Breakaway at 4. I mean, for those two teams, it's probably not as big of a series as it is for us, but because playoffs, while we can't wait to get there, it's going to take a while to get there. And obviously,
we got to keep stirring that pot in the meantime, Neil.
Exactly.
Let's get all these people angry and back and forth with each other.
Bragging rights still matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I might have gotten in
Rich,
trouble
they matter.
recently for bragging rights. I'm not really sure.
And what the best part is like, I wish I had taken a screenshot of what the standings looked like after Walpole had played 5 games, because they weren't in second place.
They were in
They
second.
weren't in second place. Like,
No.
and it's just funny how things can flip like that. And when you're hot, you're hot. And in that game, in the 2 games that I called this past weekend, the Wizards had chances.
They had
Wizards
chances,
had chances.
but geez, crow,
Like,
they did not pan out.
They had chances on Saturday night. They had chances on Sunday. They had chances for the first almost 2 periods today till they finally broke through. And the frustration when you just can't score.
It's tough.
It builds and builds.
It's like a disease. It's a disease.
Yeah.
Go on.
Anyone ever see The Natural?
Yes.
Baseball
No.
movie.
Yes.
I feel like Neil probably has.
All right, I'm
Oh, yeah.
hearing yes, no, yes, no.
No,
All right.
yes. we've
Neil,
seen it.
yes.
Yes.
It's a disease.
Blondie hasn't seen it.
Jefferson Meek Mills.
Yep, I've seen it. I haven't seen it in a while, but so I can't get the direct quotes out. But
Brittany, I'm so heartless.
Yeah, no.
No,
Call me
Neil,
Kanye.
Neil,
But
to
no,
that
I
point,
never seen
So there's a great baseball movie. It's called The Natural, and there's a great scene where they're like the worst team in the league, and they bring in a guy, and I don't know, some dude is just like, losing is a disease. Losing is a disease. And this guy just keeps saying it game after game until this gentleman gets up and is like, you know what? I'm not taking it anymore. Throws off his hat, chucks it across the room. His name is Roy Hobbs. And that guy goes out there and becomes, he's almost like the Babe Ruth or Mark McGuire or, whoever's a home run hitter these days in baseball. So
Yeah.
I'm just
McGuire's
curious.
been
Like,
retired for a few years, but
I'm trying to relate to
Just
certain
easy.
publics. I'm curious to see like who's going to be that guy in the AHL who's like, you know what? No, I'm tired of losing.
Well, the Wizzy should
And I'm
probably
tired
find
of
whoever
hearing
that
about
is.
this. I'm
Oh my
tired
God.
about hearing about this team.
this is
Listen,
Brittany's
the
hot take
Wizzies-
of the episode.
Hot take. Wait, there was a funny moment
Here we
from
go.
Wizzy's on Saturday. It was electric. We're
Yeah, are you
like,
okay with this nickname, like the Wizzies? Like, I mean, I thought we had a nickname already. Like, Aaron and I was with a guy from like the Little Flyers. No,
I've been calling them the
Coast is like
Wizzies
the
and the
Wizzies.
Whiz Bags for like wicked long.
I mean, I was just calling you guys like Hogwarts and
Yeah.
Wizzies isn't a bad nickname.
no.
Yeah,
it's
or
not.
I
It's
used to
okay.
call
Okay.
them Neil. I miss Whiz.
My
Bag
mistake, Jacob.
Wednesdays.
Yes, they had a
Okay,
lot of
wait.
Wednesday games.
Right. I used to attend everyone. I was like the one fan. Okay, anyways, back to my story. So Saturday, we're like in between periods. The kids are like coming out, they're skating we're about to start the second period or the third, whatever it was. And this kid, I don't know his first name, Moochie, number 10. Kid wipes out like before the period starts. This kid is on the ground and it's
When you
dead
keep his skate
silent.
guards on.
Dude, I have no idea, but it is dead
He
silent.
just kind of toe picked when you like catch the edge right in the top of your skate.
Yeah. No, it sucks.
And like everyone's
No,
just
I
like,
usually
want to
the
finish the
ice,
story.
honestly.
Let me finish.
Sorry.
So there's not one word being spoken at the Edge Sports Center, and you just hear Captain Jack Johansson go, "Hey, Britt, can we put that on the Instagram?" And I was crying, laughing, because he just called out his own teammate for eating ice before the period started and screams in front of everybody, "Hey, Britt, can we put that on Instagram?" And it was good.
It was
Come
good.
on. That was hysterical.
it was really good. It was.
Sports Center, not top 10 plays.
I was putting
Yes,
the headphones
I almost
on,
wanted
and
to
I was
scream
laughing. I was
top
oh.
10 plays. Top plays of the week.
I was
but I
laughing as I
decided
did it. It was
You
it
tripped
was,
over the blue line. It happens.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
Neil,
funny.
going
Okay.
back to what you were saying earlier about chances, in Walpole
Hormons?
today, Worcester was at a deadlock, scoreless tie after the first period. So they were still in it. And then they had a 2-on-1, actually, that Mason Palmer went down and just butterflied and friggin' kicked out his left leg. And it was still 0-0. And then Walpole ended up scoring, and it just kind of opened up the doors. But for a while, Walpole was up 1-0, and then they hit 3 posts in the second period, still 1-0. Then they just blew doors and opened things
well,
up.
it's just like, I think what's funny about hockey is like no game is the same as the previous game, but like it's the cliche saying, when you're hot, you're hot. When you're cold, you're cold. You go down the ice, you have a 3-on-1, you hit the crossbar, then they go down the ice, and this trickler finds a way in the net. And it's like, how did that even happen? And I know, and our audience knows, that I am a closet Wizards fan, as you all love to throw out there.
It's a fact.
If you want to sell them off right now, go right ahead, because they were the 7 seed last year. And
They've done this before.
And I know Freddie's not here this year. It's just Corey and his new assistant, Chris Antello. But what they do with their team over the course of the year can rival any team in our league.
That's a very good point.
In terms of
I just feel like they do not have a Chansey and they do not have a Brendan Darby. And that's just the T.
But they could make some trades. They could get somebody from,
as of 11/11/20.
They don't have it yet. Yeah.
Or you just said
they could grow and develop.
Yes, Chance Gorman or Brendan Darby. How about Andrew Harley last year, by the way? He had a pretty
true.
Good,
oh my God, that little
year.
beauty. Ah,
I know it's a small sample size, but look, we all kind of Walpole out. Like a couple weeks ago, they were 0-4-1. Now they're one of the hottest teams in the league.
I didn't, as obviously I'm also in the.
No, that's true.
Closet,
You did say.
No, Neil is a closeted W team.
Walpole Wizzies.
Walpole Wizzies.
Worcester
maybe on the low.
No.
Yeah, you said Worcester could sneak their way into the
I
playoffs.
did,
All right, Neil, throw the dubs up at this point. Holy shit.
Yeah, do you like the
I think
clan?
the three of you. This goes back to the election. The three of you are all NEC. Well, I'm the lone Mac guy.
Hold on.
Wait, live text from Brian.
Brittany Hart.
I'm
This is
the-
roll
I'm
87s.
Yes,
We have to go back to Brittany's fantasy picks.
AIM name is Roll 7s forever.
She picks them as her fantasy squad, but all she talks about on the podcast is NEC.
Then she was a huge Revs fan.
what
She's
if-
always been Revs.
Dude,
87.
I was a
Yeah.
big Rev girl because Chris Canelli's my dog.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't know, Kyle. I think Brittany
But
was
Wait, what the hell is NEC?
the New England
Am I-
Conference.
Oh, I'm not a New England Conference person. Are you people on drugs?
Oh my
All
God.
right,
Anyways, speaking of the NEC, Kyle,
This week's
Walpole
off the rails
versus
segment.
Walpole versus the Rangers is not the only good NEC series this weekend.
VTO, NHA, get up for the broadcast, ladies and gents.
This was the playoff series.
And Vermont hasn't played a lot, so we kind of, they've kind of gone by the wayside. We forgot about them a little bit, but
Neil, are you seeing your text messages right now? Because I'm just getting absolutely loved in this group chat.
Well, Ryan McGrath was texting me earlier. He's literally working backwards on the podcast. He's like, he listened to 44, then 43, then 42, and it's like, no, you should want to go in the other direction, Ryan.
But he just texted, great podcast number 42. And I said, yeah, I was glad you liked it. He goes, B with the heart, B heart, was on fire. Said the word fetus. That was about Ivan Borisov.
I need to make a new trailer. And in episode 43, we had an unreal segment about gaps and engas.
Yes. That was the episode.
Gaps, which are goals after power play, and engas, which are empty net goals against. Two categories that you just do not want to lead in. But Valley has, as Ryan has pointed out. But it's like I mentioned before, Vermont versus the Avalanche, another big series. Jeff kind of alluded to this earlier. With the different restrictions, it makes things tough, obviously, because you're going to face a lot of the same teams over and over and over again. But it helps build up the count because, not knock on wood, like things can change. But the state has come out with this. Are they going to get more strict than that? Hopefully not. But now we have the rules in which we can play, and we have 6 teams in Massachusetts. So you kind of rotate through, and I saw it with the games that I called, whether it was Walpole versus the Wizards or the Wizards versus the Seahawks. Like, I don't care if it's the first game or the fourth game. By the end of 60 minutes, you have a little bit of animosity with the other team.
All it takes is one big hit. That's what
Wizzy's Walpole was feisty on Sunday.
Yeah, Walpole got feisty today too. After it was
the train boys. The trains are pissed at each other. The two trains.
So it was Goldstein laid out Percy at center ice,
and Goldstein was on Walpole. For anyone who didn't know.
Oh damn!
You did not know that. Okay, good, nice.
Thank you, Brent. Will you save that nugget for my next Walpole broadcast?
The more you
Walpole
know.
Worcester broadcast. But yeah, so that's all it was. And the score was getting a little bit out of hand, which you're going to see that when you're losing 3-4-0, and someone lays you out at center ice, and then Walpole was trying to defend, Percy. Luckily, he was able to get up off his feet, came out, but the rest of the game, it was like you go into the corner, guys are looking over the shoulder, like, oh boy, I'm going to get laid out, and you're going to see a lot of that the next couple months.
So can I change my team to watch?
No, you already have your dub squad.
Yes, you can. Neil.
Okay. Seahawks
Yeah,
Hockey Club. Seahawks Hockey.
Yeah,
Kidding, that's my
Seahawks.
goalie.
They're on my watch too. They're on my watch.
The goalie that they brought in that goes to Skidmore is going back there after this year. Obviously, it's one of those 2000s that can come back and has junior eligibility. He steps in goal today, and I look down and I'm like, this kid is almost as tall as me, and I'm over the glass.
And who is this goalie, Neil?
He's 6'4", Blaine Moore. I was
Blaine
like,
Moore, okay.
where is the hole behind him? I don't see the net behind this kid. He was
Dude, the amount of Moors on the ice today, 3.
And interesting, too, you just told us earlier there was a good old-fashioned hockey trade. Tristan Hadley.
Yes.
Gone.
Wait, what?
After being
T?
a
I don't
huge
know this.
part.
Spill the tea. Spill the tea. Why do I not know this?
Team Maryland.
If you guys talked in the group chat at all, I didn't read it once.
Wow,
did.
at least we're being honest with each other.
Hey, I sent I'm at the Science Museum text. I was busy.
Yeah, but
was
what's
busy.
amazing is, again, this was not talked about today. It was talked about
Yesterday? Last night?
Oh, wait. So what's going on?
Tristan Hadley was traded.
It looks like he's heading the team Maryland because
Oh.
I know this. It's one of our picks again this week, and one of Kyle's favorite nicknames.
Oh, yeah.
The combination of now Blaine Moore and Peyton Duran. and, like,
Well done, Neil. Well done.
That's a really good combination.
Still my boy, Peyton.
And I know that the thing about the Seahawks offensively every year, even this year, they kind of grind for goals a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not like you step over the blue line and like it's a snipe, like goal scorers type shot. They kind of grind for goals.
Blue
Right.
collar type.
Yeah,
offense.
perfect.
There's no
Nothing
Connor
wrong with that.
Bazals.
Yeah, sure. But when
Great
you
blue
like
collar.
work back, like those 2000 goaltenders, that's not a team I want to face right now. Like,
Mhm.
I know that
Team on the rise.
Yeah, the Rangers beat them 4-1, but the
You're seeing a lot of teams do this year.
Seahawks outshot them that game.
You're
Wait,
seeing a lot
did
of
you
teams
see that
do
they
this.
added Finchie's little brother?
They added
Yes,
Ryan Finch,
yep.
and they
Yes.
added
Bill's
big on
Austin
him.
Finch.
Bill's
And-
big on
Dude,
him.
they got a squad. Wait, everyone, I know viewers at home, you can't see this, but like Neil and I witnessed this on Saturday.
Oh my god!
Is that changing in the parking lot?
Honestly, Brittany, thank
Welcome
you.
to 2020.
That's a perfect transition because that shifts us down to the Mid Atlantic Conference. And I will start by saying Kyle had a
Where the
text.
sevens got dressed outside.
Well, hold on. That's what I'm getting to. Kyle had a text that said, "Can the 87s lose a game over the next couple of days?"
Which
I
we're
said-
like, no way.
I said, "No way." Obviously, a lot of our teams have to get dressed outside right now.
In
They
the
were
rain.
They were under a tent, and this is not why they lost the game to the team Maryland in overtime. But it was pouring rain, guys. It's pouring rain, and these guys are getting dressed outside.
And there's
Yeah. What the heck, Josh Fusco? Give my boy some respect for
It's
Christ's
not-
you said there
sake.
was a
Is Team
10?
Maryland getting dressed outside too?
Yes.
Okay,
So-
Whatever.
that's even.
Still, put some respect in my boys' names.
And they both
Yeah, how
had
about
10s
can I
too?
get some respect that I'm just saying this is no disrespect towards the 87s. I had a feeling there might be an upset. There might be an overtime contest. It's on Twitter.
That was the other thing that you said. You literally said there may be an overtime game today. Then you put the purple magic
crystal ball.
So which
I can see into the
which-
future.
While doing a few tweets over the years of the Wizards, I have used that emoji.
Yeah.
Were you referring to that game, or were you referring to any of the three games?
No, I was referring to that. I know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to predict the future.
He's got to
Just like, I mean, I knew New England was going to beat New Hampshire. So, anyways, so yeah, I thought there was going to be an overtime game. And I just had a feeling that there's a chance that New Jersey's going to lose at some point or another.
Okay, so then let's keep predicting. They lost.
Yep.
Who are they going to finally lose to in regulation?
I was going to say regulation.
Because
Ooh, that's a fact because they lost to Hostas in a shootout and they lost
I'm
to
going to
TMD
say
in overtime.
it's too difficult to beat the Philadelphia Little Flyers as many times as they have. That makes no sense. They've already beat them 5 times. I think they're eventually going to see them more often, and it's too difficult on New Jersey's part to beat Philadelphia that many times.
How about the Protect McKenna's?
Protect McKenna's.
Yeah, the Protect McKenna's.
I'm not going to say no, but I don't want to seem biased, and I don't want to see. I
said it for you,
more
Kyle.
text messages that I don't know what I'm talking about, and blah blah blah, and I should delete tweets. So I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Little Flyers as a team to watch to beat New Jersey.
So the only thing I'll say about that, maybe a game gets added in between now and then, but are you telling me that they will not lose a regulation game until 2021? You run down the schedule. There's Team Maryland matchups. There's Ducks matchups.
Yeah, why not?
That's
fine.
Riders. Okay.
I mean, they already went 2 months without losing a regulation game, and I'm also curious. So in 1-goal games, New Jersey is 3-2, and if you want to get technical, they're 3-0-2. Yes. And I think when I spoke to Anthony DiPaolo back when I was invited to a game. And New Jersey is great organization, friendly people. Anthony and I, long story short, discussed about just the matter of New Jersey being in a 1-goal game and just that challenge. If they go into overtime, how do they handle that? Because New Jersey is used to winning and winning by more than 1 goal. So I'm curious to see. Philly has already played New Jersey to a 1-goal game. They played more than a handful of times, if not just 5. It's going to be tough for New Jersey to continue that against Philadelphia.
They actually came back. They were down 4-1 today. They started pouring all those goals on.
Yeah,
late.
New Jersey was. Yep.
Yeah.
Against a tough Maryland squad.
Mm-hmm. It was rested too. Very rested.
Say good playoff team.
So they're at 14 straight games of the point. The Rangers are at 11, and they're creeping up on the 16 number, which is where we have 2 teams tied for that spot. And then obviously 17 Revolution, 17 Rangers, 26 Junior Flyers, 33 point streak was that Little Flyers year. So a long way to go to start setting that record, but you could say halfway there. Obviously.
Halfway there. Come on, sing the song. Who sings that? Bon Jovi? I don't know.
We're halfway there.
Yeah.
It's a Jersey guy. Yeah.
We're halfway there.
I don't know, Brittany, if you're relying on me to sing it or.
Somebody. I wasn't singing.
I don't know why you didn't sing it.
I wasn't singing on air. That ain't for me.
Anyways, the second place team right now, Team Maryland, had a little break in their schedule. They come back, beat Little Flyers 7-4, which is the first time they beat them all year. After losing their first 3, as to Kyle's point, you face that team so many times, eventually you break through. And then they win today against the 87s in overtime. And to that 1-goal point again, it feels like Maryland has come out on top more often in those 1-goal type of games, especially Kyle had 2 of them against ProTech. I think as of today, to answer my consistent question, Team Maryland is the second best team in that conference right now.
And what is the bubble that we have down there? So that is
PLF.
All those.
You're looking at 87s, Team Maryland, Connecticut Rough Riders, Connecticut Chiefs, Jump ProTech. So the Chiefs are also in the mix too, going 2-2 this last week. So they can't be overlooked either.
I was actually asking, what do we have for the bubble down there?
In terms of scheduling?
Yes.
There is not one yet.
There is none. Okay.
No.
So we just
the South is thriving.
Say yet, please, Jeff.
Yeah.
Say yet. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Right now,
as we know,
South's
everything's
rolling.
changing by the hour, by the day.
I'm still due. Friday, I will be at ProTech.
Hopefully, fingers
crossed.
Oh, for PLF.
That's the cheesesteak.
Yes, this is the cheesesteak review.
With
Finally
my boy,
happening.
Frank.
We've been talking about this for 3 weeks. Hoping I can still accomplish that.
I can smell it and taste it.
So
excited.
We just touched on the first place team and the second place team, and another consistent question that we ask in this conference: Who are the
Who
Rough
are
Riders?
the Hosses? Who knows? Who knows? I'm
I-
sick of them.
Oh my
I'm
God.
sorry.
I just they're 7-6-2, and
She's lying, Brownie. Don't worry. She
I
loves you guys.
can't get a
I can't
pulse
get behind
on
them.
who they are because
They don't know. They're having their own identity crisis,
Yeah.
let alone us trying to identify who they are. They don't even know themselves.
we
They're
come on this
figuring it out.
podcast after the 10-0 game, and then they win 7-3.
Holy hell, Rich is texting me. I'm screaming.
Oh, that's New England Conference chatter. We're on to the
Yeah.
Mid-Atlantic.
Run to the south. We the south. Hashtag we the south.
Neil from the north.
Yeah, from the north, we the south.
Neil, I'm still going to stand by what I said last weekend. This is a young
what?
team. This is a talented
you feel
team.
confident in them.
I
Dude, you
still-
love the Hosses.
So Kyle's
Because
got a
I
Hosses
see
closet.
something
He's a
there and-
closet Hosses fan.
Yeah, you're a
Everyone's like,
closet
oh,
Hoss.
We don't know like what this team is, and it's like the reality is they're in third place. They have 16 points. If they were to win tomorrow, they would be in second place.
I would just like to make a fact. Neil is gonna
Sure.
hate this. They would not be the second place team in the New England Conference, and that's a fact.
Wow.
Well, they can only play what's on their schedule, and the reality is they're in the MAC conference,
The Mac.
MAC. So
We're just throwing out flames right now, guys.
Bosses, get it together. That's all I have to say. Talk to me when you
are we
figure
all
your
football
stuff
fans?
out.
Are we all football fans? Do we pay attention
Absolutely.
to the NFL? The NFC
Like,
East, the best
barely.
team, I think, in first place right now is 3-7.
Mhm.
So I'm going to give credit to the Connecticut Rough Riders, who had one returning player and are 7-6-2 right now, and are competing against a tough team, Maryland, a hungry Pro Tech team, a hungry Connecticut Chiefs team. I don't want to hear about the NEC. I'm telling you, I'm outnumbered. It's 3-1 right now.
I think I'd
represent
get behind the
I
Chiefs
represent
before
you,
I get
NAC.
behind the Hosses.
I represent you, but I provide facts.
Kyle,
Connecticut.
also, to your point, Connecticut already had a 4-game winning streak. They beat some very good teams during that streak, so they've
Yeah,
shown
they
they
just
can
beat Pro Tech, who you guys all said was going to beat New Jersey.
right. And
Am
they
I
beat
wrong?
the 87s.
Where
Little
is the,
fly.
Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
Where's the quacker?
Senator Raven, am I wrong?
Where's the quacker?
I'm superstitious.
Oh, ooh. It's not coming out this week. It's
The
staying-
quacker is not coming out? Is that
It's
what's going
not.
on?
He's superstitious.
Oh,
Do you have to wait for them to get back on the
the dub train.
on the choo choo?
Anyways, so Connecticut, they've won.
I don't
7
think we
games.
can call them Connecticut because there is a Connecticut Chiefs. That
All right.
grinds
True.
my gears to no
Hosses.
extent.
See,
Yes.
I
hate when you say
refer to the
Connecticut, 'cause I'm like,
Chiefs
which
as the
one?
Chiefs, but I refer to the Rough Riders as Connecticut.
Very
like
good
that,
point.
but
Just
that's
me.
okay.
Maybe it's just a personal preference,
Very
but
good point.
He's consistent.
Yes.
Mm.
You can call one NOCO, like Northern Connecticut, and then the other one can be
Okay.
SoCo.
Sono.
Soco.
Sono.
Sonos.
Oh, Sono.
Sono.
Yeah.
So
If I'm
but,
getting
I mean,
behind
if
any
you look
Connecticut
at the
team,
standings
it's the
right now,
Chefs.
it's pretty obvious. So Connecticut is 5-5 in their last 10. I said it last week.
Ew.
They're a 500 team. In this league, if you go 500 early on, you're in the mix. I'll leave it at that. It's up for discussion. You guys tell me more.
All I'm saying is don't get slapped 7-0 by a team you beat.
you mean 10-0.
I mean, if they beat the best
Well, yeah,
team in
10,
the
whatever
league,
it was. That makes it even
And,
worse. That makes it even worse.
I mean,
Whatever.
that's-
All I don't.
Fire
I'm not.
takes. There's no
Ugh.
shortage of fire takes in what is this episode?
Dude, if I ever step foot at
45,
Sono
right?
Ice House, I'm gonna
45.
get blown up.
Wow. Anyways,
Actually, hold on. You know what's really cool? Let's go off the rails for a second. You know what? Why not? Isn't
is this
this
a
year?
Walpole reference? Or?
No, this is actually for Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans
Yeah.
out there. Thank you for your
Thank you.
service. Isn't this
Thank
the
you.
245th birthday for the Marines? And we're doing the
I think so.
45th episode of the EHL. That's kind of cool.
Whoa.
Woo! Bam. Semper Fi.
That was good. That was good, Jeff. Good job.
What? Thank
here,
you.
ready,
Yeah.
Jeff? For Brittany's math problem of the week.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you.
If we record a podcast every
No, I
Thursday-
can't do.
Can I finish?
No, 'cause I'm
Please
gonna
do.
get it wrong.
Right.
If we record a podcast every Thursday forever, when do we
I
hit
don't-
245?
I have no idea.
Please come back
I'm
to
not
us.
even gonna.
Please come back to us next Wednesday with the answer.
No, thank you.
Hey, ask your children in the classroom.
2024.
Ask your
Honestly,
kindergarten.
the kids I nanny are math whizzes. They would get it in like 2 seconds.
There you go. You can.
Me, on the other hand,
Don't tell
no.
us.
We're not at fantasy picks yet.
No.
So we
I'm
are
waiting for
not.
fantasy because I'm amped after finishing in second. Sorry.
Wow.
Well, we haven't even touched on the P.
We're
yet.
gonna touch the P. Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah, you're touching the P. So, anyways,
Think minds
guys,
think
in the
alike.
P this week, BJR's rolling. Oh wait, BJR lost.
Yeah, we're just gonna let Brittany
BJR
handle
is
this.
not. Okay, BJR
Literally
split
lost
the
their last
weekend.
game. Literally lost their
No,
last
they didn't. They literally won today.
Okay, lost their last game yesterday.
Okay, so their last game would be today because it's completed, but that's fine. Oh, and you know what? Sticking on the whole earning a point thing, they did lose in a shootout. So technically they did earn a point.
Number
their
2
loss.
in the EHLP power rankings has started to have a little bit of the number 5
5.
EHL power rankings curse.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
And I
That's
don't-
interesting.
I don't
Neil,
get
keep
it
an eye
because
on
it's
it.
like the last 2 times that I've put a team there, they lost, and 3 of the last 4 or 3 of the last 5, and it's like I get number 5 in the EHL because sometimes it's a team that's kind of like just working their way in,
We're on the cusp. Yep.
but
But the number 2.
number 2,
Two should be like, hey, we've been here. We've
yeah,
you know.
it doesn't make sense. I mean, what's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of this week plays out because we're not fully in the EHLP yet. We're in the EHL again. We know that number 1 lost in overtime. If the Rangers sweep the weekend series with Walpole, are they
Big
number
series too. Right.
Not happening, but
Are they?
Whoa,
do they
whoa,
do they
whoa,
jump the
whoa.
87s?
Yes.
Because they're 12-0-1 to 12-0.
Yeah, because 7's lost. So yeah, I vote yes. So I'll see you guys I'll see you guys Monday.
But if Walpole wins one of those games, what do you do for an order?
we'll put it for a vote.
Well,
in the
I think
group chat.
I think that we discuss that when the time happens. We're getting too ahead of ourselves.
This is the
This
fun
is
part.
happening. Yeah, this is
The
fun part.
87s lost their game.
Can we
Okay,
call-
but the
can we call
Sevens
Justin?
lost. Wait, hold on. Sevens lost to Maryland,
call
who's
Justin
not
an innocent
ranked. I don't
person.
know. I would say that BJR goes 1, 7's 2.
If BJR wins both
If
games.
BJR
That's me
wins both
talking
games.
against
Hey,
the Sevens.
hey.
Everyone arrest me.
Okay, but can we hold on a second? That's if the
You
Rangers
asked-
win both games against the Express. What if the
No, that's if they lose. I'm saying if they lose, if they split, because at least they lost to a team that's in the top 5. Maryland is not in the top 5, so therefore they should be 1.
Okay. All right.
And actually, they'd be 11-0-1 if they win. Yeah, right.
They're 10-0-1 right now. If they win both games,
Oh, that's
they go,
right. Yep.
they go to 12.
I'm saying if they lose.
What if they lose in regulation? They have a regulation loss, but the 87s don't.
The 87 stone.
Okay, but the 87 still lost to a team who's not in top 5, and at least they lost to a team who is in top 5.
Okay. Now, ultimate curveball.
But-
What if Walpole sweeps the series?
Okay,
Jeez,
then
I feel like
Walpole
I'm in like
jumps.
legally
I
blonde
think-
part
okay,
4.
We need to see what happens with Vermont Avs before anything.
And that's not hating on anyone. It just I feel
Why?
like I'm in like a
Because
I feel like I'm in
Ver-
court right now.
So if Walpole sweeps BJR, what happens if the Avs sweep Vermont? Or Vermont sweeps the Avs? So there's a lot going on
because the
before
Avs
they get
anything
respect.
happens.
because the Avs are ahead of Vermont.
And Walpole.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Fair.
So we need to hold the hosses, if you would, before we do any of this.
So in a way, we're gonna hold our horses. Back to the EHLP.
Back to the P.
Brittany had to start off by saying the Rangers are rolling. What about the only team in either division that hasn't lost a game at all?
When's the last time they even played?
2 games this past week.
Oh,
New Jersey.
sorry. No, this stupid Avalanche.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
sorry.
Whoa.
Yeah, the Avs.
They're
Yeah,
stupid
take
now,
that,
are they?
Chris. Shove it.
Anyways, they beat the Wolves 9-3 and the Chiefs 7-4 this past week. The one
blah,
player
blah, blah.
to watch who is in his second season.
Tucker Tassone, beauty.
Yes.
He has some hair too.
Oh my god. If I
Tucker's
could,
a
Does he?
beaut.
What's he
Yeah,
rocking?
he's a gem.
down to the
The mullet, is it?
No, wait.
No.
Tucker just has like long curly. Like he's a beauty. I love that.
He's just
kid.
like Flo
cool.
Diddy.
Wait, he's an Av?
Yeah, he's a P. You have P, though.
Oh, P.
And in his last
Yeah,
five
Slow
games,
Diddy.
That's
he's
his
had-
hair.
yes, and his last
Wow.
5 games, he's had 3 points in every game.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
Tucker
good for the
goes
brand.
off. Tucker's a king.
The
That's
last
some good lettuce, and that's good for the brand, baby.
the last 3
Right.
games, he's had 2 goals and assists in each game. He has 19 points in 9 games. He had 23 points in 40 games last year.
So what's he doing in the P?
And that is a question to ask Chris Sorella, who has 900 kids on
Anyways,
the P and the E
anyways,
combined.
it's-
See
No,
him
I'm
in
not.
the
I'm not
stretch?
chirping him.
No,
I'm
no,
just saying,
it's Kyle. It's
take note
a
of the
fair
EHL teams.
It's a fair point because Jeff and I talked about this in the very first broadcast of the year. Ryan Bailey did not play a single game in the EHL last year.
Right.
He
No,
played a
and I
full-
also think that depends on you look at their E team. I think that like Bailey could have played on a different team's
Right.
EHL
Look,
team last year.
Yep.
I
And
said
every
Just
coach-
like
timing
Tucker
is
could play
everything.
like E on
Timing and
a
fit
different
is
team.
everything.
Yeah, and some coaches don't
So
want to
give these
expose
kids an
them.
opportunity. I know you don't want to let them go, but you see it at all levels. NCAA, the NHL. We can see a guy who puts up 2 goals and 5 assists in 82 games in the NHL, and he gets traded and he's up for the, an MVP award. It happens. So I'm just curious, why is this Tassone kid tearing it up in the EHLP?
So we give Chris the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he sees something that we don't as a coach that, that he doesn't want to expose him yet. Maybe his skill set, he thinks he lacks in some area, or he wants him to hone certain skills, or if he brings him up and exposes him and he, loses his confidence. I mean, confidence is a big thing in hockey. And look at a guy like Chris Bork. He has made a huge living in the AHL, comes up to the NHL, doesn't do anything. It's like it's two totally different.
And let me correct you.
levels.
This is completely positive from the player's sense. This is not questioning the player. I want to
Right.
see him do well. And
Yeah.
as a future owner on Cape Cod,
This is a joke, everybody. Please don't take it seriously.
this is not a
Please don't-
joke.
Kyle is
not-
visiting
Okay, so-
family.
This is a joke. I have family on Cape Cod.
Yeah,
As a
Kyle is
future
visiting
owner,
this weekend.
and as a guy who's recruiting, I'm just looking out for the players.
Sucks that we couldn't see you this weekend, Kyle. We're all trying to follow the 2020
But all
COVID.
seriousness, yeah, he is a stud. He's got the Flo Diddy status.
Yeah.
And he is in a
Agreed.
great organization, an organization that has depth and is clearly championship caliber. So keep up the good work, young Tassone.
And in the Central Division, just like the EHL, a key home-and-home series, Walpole and Rangers. Walpole won their first matchup against the Rangers yesterday, as Brittany said, in a shootout. So if the next 2 games are anything like that, then we're in for 2 good ones between the 2 and 4 ranked teams. Down south, the 3rd ranked team sits there still in first place in the 87. So it's consistent in that, just like we said in the NEC of the EHL, as we mentioned.
I hate that term.
The standings.
What term?
The standings can
NEC.
split. They can flip just like that. So and that also stays consistent in our fantasy. And I think you guys are all ready for it. So we'll transition into what to watch for.
Before we wrap things up, here's what to watch for this week in the E-Show.
It's time for the E-Crew Fantasy Challenge, brought to you by Bertucci's Brick Oven Pizza and Pasta, your home for authentic Italian dishes, catering, and group dining. Check out their party pizzas and specials at bertucci's.com.
And I mentioned the flip because up until yesterday, Brittany had 0 points this week.
Right, and then
Crazy.
thank you, BJR, you beauties. At least
Yes.
getting me some sort of points
And-
is my defenseman blow.
Wow.
I'm
So
sorry, they don't blow. Jack Johansson, I'm really sorry. I know we're acquaintances, so please. don't.
overall, when you look at the defensemen that we picked this past week between the 4 of us,
Dude, nobody did anything.
Yep.
we had
Sorry.
a goal, 2 assists, and 1 power play point in there. That was
That's
it.
That was it. The defenseman said, "Good night. We're not coming today. We have to go."
The
Yeah.
This
defenseman
week
said,
is not
"Hey,
for
we're
us.
gonna protect our zone and do what we're supposed to do. We're D-men,
Yeah.
We're not supposed
We're
to be
playing no offensive defenseman games this week. None. They
So-
said no.
for the first time this season, I finished in last for the week.
Woohoo! Finally. Oh, sorry.
Yay!
So Rye Dukes,
man.
2 assists, Declan Bronte, a goal, assists, 1 power play point, and I picked a goalie who got traded. So that was a little tough to swallow. So
I didn't know you picked Tristan Hadley.
Neil, let's see the silver lining in this though, my friend. You did not have a single digit effort. You still have yet to get. You got 10 points
I still
flat.
had 10 points on
10
it,
points
so.
flat. So look at that.
And
you have
I
not joined us.
really like my group this week. So we're gonna start.
Interesting.
Why? What's interesting?
I'm
about
saying I don't mean in a bad way. I kind of sounded like a little biatchy, but I didn't.
Everyone's
mean
getting
it.
real sensitive.
Yeah, gee.
So, a player that hasn't been picked yet this year, at the
somehow,
forward
some
position,
way.
is Egan Smith, a 2001 from New York. I mean, Egan, it's
Good
really
pick.
simple. It's simple, buddy. Just do what you did game 1 of the year. 4 goals, game winner.
He's
If you-
from
That's
Vermont.
all.
by the
No
way,
big deal,
people.
Egan.
If you do that
Just 4
against,
goals in a game winner, pal. You know.
if you did
got
that
it?
against the Avalanche, a
Oh, Nasher.
Nash,
Hey, Nasher.
Nash gets a pick.
Nasher making his appearance. He likes Egan Smith too. All right, Nash.
He likes the pick. Let's go, Nash.
Nash, where's your Lumberjacks jersey, pal? Let's see it.
Oh my god.
But the tough part in it is, we mentioned this last week in the podcast, this year's Avalanche team, well, they don't have the top scorers and things like that. Defensively, they're strong. And the 3 goals they gave against the Wolves is probably as many goals as they're going to give up in a game. So Egan just be the one that scores all 3 goals, and it's against the top 5 team. And just, if I had to make predictions, Walpole and Rangers split, Lumberjacks and Avalanche split. And I'm hoping that Egan would be the big reason why the Lumberjacks get at least 1 win this weekend. But then shifting back to the point, I don't know how this happened, but on a podcast a few episodes ago, I came on and I talked about Michael O'Brien, another 01, and I talked about his ice time at Seacoast and how I just love the way he played. I love his composure. I love the body language on the ice and everything that he did. And then he followed me that night on Twitter.
Oh, before it dropped.
Yes.
Yeah. Whoa.
And I was
Whoa,
like,
Neil. Crystal ball, Kyle moment.
Is someone tapped in here that I can't see?
Uh-oh.
But now,
Yeah, your FBI agent called them up
Yes.
after the pod.
I'm looking at the schedule this week, and they got a 3-3 with the New England Wolves. O'Brien's got 5 points to the first 10 games. He runs the power play. I think Seacoast wins 2 out of those 3, maybe 1 out of those 3. It's going to be those are 2 teams that I think all 3 games, to Kyle's point earlier, could go to overtime. And then my last pick is ballsy. Because
I like it, Neil.
the last
Ballsy,
time
huh?
the last time Eric Buchholz started against the Boston Junior Rangers, it was the 5th straight loss for the Walpole Express to start the season, and Buchholz got pulled. And it's another shot at those top 5 points, but he's
Right.
playing well.
I like it, Neil.
I know Palmer's got 2 of the last 3 shutouts, and Buchholz has the 1 in between because Walpole has 3 straight shutouts going into this.
Mhm.
If they make it 4 straight shutouts or even 5 straight shutouts, I think collectively the 4 of us would be baffled because of how
chill with
strong the Rangers offense is. But the shot totals will be there this weekend.
that. Yeah, that's a fact.
And will
Absolutely.
the save totals follow? I guess we'll find out.
Mhm.
But those are my picks
TBD.
for the week. And I hope to God I'm not in last again next week.
Okay, it is my turn. You know what? Although last week I had a nickname for Nathan Young. I have a new nickname for Nathan Young. You guys are not going to get it. Connor Brazil, this one is for you. Boof Young Lob got me nothing. He got
How do
me
you
an
spell
assist.
that though?
It's okay. We don't need to. No, we're not spelling it because it would expose him.
Isn't that like an Xbox?
Well, as the beat
Yeah,
writer,
it's
I
his
need to know.
Xbox name. We don't need
Yes, you
everyone
told us
adding
before.
Younger on Xbox. No
He
one
told
add
us.
Young on
Everybody
Xbox.
add him now.
No, leave Younger alone. So yeah, Younger didn't do much for me. So I'm gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna go with Ryan Bailey from BJR at forward. Kid lights it up. He's been lighting it up. If one BJR forward doesn't work for you, just pick another one, and you'll do fine.
Words
at
of
D,
wisdom.
Words of wisdom, BJR. You guys will see in the future of the picks. I am the lone wolf who thinks BJR is gonna win this weekend because according to everyone else's picks, they aren't. You both picked Walpole. We'll get there. Whatever. Next on D, we got You know what? You guys call him Wizwit. I just call him Frank. Jake Frank and Field.
Oh, come on. He is whiz with
Nah, his name is Frank. So we're picking Frank.
Oregon
from PLF.
Steaks.
PLF, go Frank. Turn out.
Now he has to get more points for you than he got for Jeff and Kyle combined because Jeff and Kyle combined was a goal.
Right, no.
It
Frank,
wasn't
I
for
got
me.
big-
Thank you,
I got
Frank.
I appreciate
big-
it, Wizwit.
Mm-mm.
Thank you,
I
Frankie
appreciate
Wizwit.
it. See you on
What the heck?
Friday.
No, Frank's playing the Kyle McKenna's, so I'm ready. Let's go, Frank. Get
Oh,
up.
it's the Protect McKenna's, Britt.
Whatever that Christ
It's
it
okay.
is. And then in goals, Tristan Hadley, goodbye. Peyton Durand, get up. I hope you're
Wow.
ready. You know what? Peyton Durand, the Seahawks are playing Worcester again. Peyton Durand was in net for the dub last time they played Worcester. Couldn't say I could dive much into the other
Okay.
two games because I was a little busy. But Peyton Durand, I am
Respect.
ready. So, yep, go off. BJR, PLF. My nickname for the Seahawks isn't appropriate, so we will just go with the SHC.
All right.
All right,
Respect,
next.
though, Brett. Nice picks. Nice
Oh,
picks.
cheap. At least you didn't say it. So,
Uh,
all right, Kyle.
I'm going to start between the pipes with the Seacoast Spartan goaltender, Rhett Bubba Fett Mandalorian, Weselek.
Oh, here we go.
I hate when I don't get it.
He's got one shutout on the year. He's seen the majority of the minutes, so I trust Seacoast in the circumstances in the upcoming week. This is a good team. I think a team we don't mention enough about. But anyways, I'm going to move up to the blue line. Dominic Honeynut Tirico from the Chiefs
Wow.
on defense. Boys, don't let me down.
The chefs. Chef
On
it up.
forward, again, you
Yeah.
guys still have to help me out here with my main man, not
Dennis?
Neil Ravin. Yes, Mr. Dennis from Maryland, who is also featured for the Quote of the Week for the EHL.
Arkapenko.
Oh, Capella.
Dennis,
Yes.
don't call me Denny Zarkpenko.
Yeah, so a stud on forward. He seems like a point per guy type of player. I need the points, Dennis. Cough, cough. So let's go.
Hey, no. And Jeff, 5.6,
Woohoo!
the first place guy from this past week.
I will take it. What is that?
Jeff, say what you have to say for this week.
What were you gonna say, Brett? Oh, you don't want to rip it over.
Right now, I can hear the train going by, which is a perfect segment into
It's
Jeff's
mine.
picks.
Chugga 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 choo choo. All right, so we got multiple trains in this league. Today was the Battle of the Trains, as I called it on social media, and the Battle of the Trains was won by the Walpole Express 5-0.
The red train.
The red train, exactly. So we're gonna go with Mr. Zach Simon on forward, who Neil had, and Neil got quite a few points. What was that? 5 goals he had for you a couple weeks ago, Neil?
Let's go back to the spreadsheet. He had five goals,
There you
3
go.
assists, 1 power play, 1 shorthanded, 1 game winner. Just a solid 24 fantasy point week.
I mentioned that on my broadcast today that he did so well for you after his breakaway goal. That was a beaut today. So we're gonna hope for a couple more breakaway goals next week,
Sweet.
and maybe it'll come for Neil's first place spot. But we'll
Hey, now.
see. The standings are getting tight. By the way, Britt, you're getting
Hey,
real
now.
close to Kyle too.
Dude,
by
I
the
am. Kyle, watch out.
Really?
Watch out. BJR is going to sneak up on you. Ryan Bailey, I'm really counting on you, buddy.
All right, so everyone remember this. This is the person you voted for, once again, who won the election. And then a week from now today, we'll see what the results are.
Just remember, it's
Okay.
Brittany's world. The rest of us are just living in it. And
You are
non-defense,
living in my universe.
on defense, got to say hello to this young man today, Romeo Terrain.
Robo
Told him
to
to have a good
move.
game.
Romeo.
Had himself a good game today. I said, hey, buddy, have a
Nice.
good game so I can talk about you on the podcast. And he did. 2 apples against the Railers.
Wow.
And we're going to hope for some more apples next week. So keep eating well, Romeo. And then in between the pipes, Well, Buckholes is gone. So, Mason Palmer, how do you do? You looked good today, and you've looked pretty damn good the last couple of weeks. So, let's go, Mason, and
Nice.
that's it. That's all she wrote, baby.
I will tell you this, Jeff. My sources have confirmed that Buckholz is starting on Friday, Palmer on Saturday.
Oh,
Ooh.
so I get to see Paul. I
Your
get to see
own
all of them
pick.
on Saturday because I'll get to call that game. Thanks to you. Thanks, Neil.
So when
So you guys are team Pole
If-
up the
if-
yang.
if Ryan Bailey scores on Saturday, Brittany's going to be hammering the buzzer button. Just for
Oh
you.
yeah, dude! I'm gonna be slamming. Like, I'm gonna be punching the glass. Like, boom, 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 boom. Get up, Ryan Bailey.
I love me some Ryan Bailey. I had Ryan earlier in the season. I hope he does just as well for you, Britt, as he did for me because he's.
You know what? I am ready for a BJR slam packed Saturday.
But Neil, like we were saying earlier, this doesn't mean we're Walpole fans. Me and you are just kind of, I'd say, we're going in like a ballsy direction. We're
No,
trying.
Neil is the Team
points.
W squad, so Walpole counts in the dub train.
If I have to predict, I think it's
Neil
gonna be
just threw up a dub. Neil literally just threw up a W on the podcast. Everybody, Walpole, Worcester, whoever else starts with a W.
Should we use our first screenshot from the podcast? Everyone put a W up.
No, I won't be throwing any
Wow.
dubs
Hey,
up.
Only Jeff and
Tang.
I. Only Jeff and I.
Tang.
I'm good. Can I like BJR? Yeah, I don't know.
I got a lot of ties to
What is that one, Kyle?
It was supposed to be a D for the Ducks.
Oh, but not the duck whistle.
No,
Oh, I hear the
said, I'm
train.
superstitious. So
Where's that?
Wait,
That's
where's
Brittany.
it? Where-
That's a
where's
yeah,
that
Brittany
it's me. It's me. I have the
Not
train
in my
coming from the
house.
Jersey
No,
Shore.
I have a train
so-
as well. The
Brittany
train
does
station's
too.
right outside my window.
Battle of the Trains here as well. Love it.
Out of the train.
A lot of good games on the schedule this week in both divisions. Obviously, make sure to check out the rinks that you want to head to find out what the different spectator rules are and are not. You can follow every box score at easternhockeyleague.org, and of course, every game is on Hockey TV.
Catch me and Neil's broadcast on Sunday. Get up.
That's this weekend. Oh my God. I think it's
Yes, I can tell you right now. You know what, Neil? If Egan Schmidt scores, I'm gonna be yelling. Good yelling. I'm gonna be
What
saying,
time is puck
"Get
drop
up,
for that?"
Egan Schmidt!" I have probably 4:20, like every Avalanche game. I have no idea.
110 on Sunday.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Wow,
So if I tune
we're
in at 4:20,
switching
I'll miss everything. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Brittany, good luck though. Kill it, kid.
thanks. I'm gonna need it.
Very
Neil
great.
might kill me. So
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
It's going to be good. It's going to be a good week. So, with
now
that,
everyone on this podcast will be a broadcaster after Sunday.
wow,
Boom. Done. Lock it up.
drop the mic. Let's have a good week, and we'll see where things stand, especially on the power ranking side of things 1 week from now.
Good luck,
Should be
everybody.
interesting.
Talk to you
Good
guys
luck.
next
See
week.
you at the rink.
Thanks for listening to The E Show. Learn more at easternhockeyleague.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, be sure to subscribe and get notified when next week's podcast is released.